Okay. How is it going, everybody? How are we all doing today? Give a minute for everybody to start joining, of course, getting a few notifications here and there. There we are. There we go. Whoops. Okay. There we go. How are we going? How are we doing, everybody? How are we all? Everybody doing all right today? Hopefully. Today, tonight, whatever it might be for you in your current situation. Greetings. Hello. Hi. Everybody's doing good. Good. Distortus Rex, hello. Greetings. Hello. Hola. Rebirth Rex. I can't speak. Rebirth Rex looks gorgeous. Absolutely it does. Easily so far my favorite T-Rex that we've seen in the franchise. That that Brachiosaurus next to you looks expensive. I think it was. I got it a couple of years ago. I don't remember the exact price tag, but it was probably pretty hefty. It's the Hammond collection one. Thoughts on New Tyrannus? Very cool dinosaur. Largest confirmed feathered dinosaur, which is always a really cool thing. What is my biggest wish for Jurassic World Evolution 3? I actually talk about that briefly in one of my most recent videos. I want Cenozoic creatures. I hope so much that at the very least we get a Smilodon. I'd prefer more than just the Smilodon, but I'd like something. I'd like Cenozoic creatures in the game. Rebirth is the real Jurassic Park 4 for me. That's a good way to look at it, I suppose. Am I the only one who thinks that during Jurassic World, Rexy was literally skinny? She definitely was. I think a lot of that could be explained by malnutrition because they probably weren't feeding her enough, but I don't think we've ever had any confirmed sources. But she's definitely a lot thinner than she was in the first Jurassic Park film. Smilodon is peak Cenozoic, absolutely, but we need like mammoth, terror birds, we need megalania, we need basilosaurus, all kinds of things. Have you played Jurassic Park Telltale? Is there something from that game that you wish for the movies? So I never played it myself. I always watched other people play it. I never got around to playing it myself. But I mean, I guess I wouldn't mind if the Troodons were canon to officially brought into the canon, but I don't think there's anything I'm holding my breath for. All right, Dino Guy, if that's even your real name, let's start asking the real questions. If you could only have one ever, Battlefront 3 or Jurassic World Evolution 3? Battlefront 3. I gotta be honest with that. I already thought that Evolution 2 had most of everything I wanted. Like, yes, I'd prefer Cenozoic creatures and baby animals to be in the game, but I've grown up playing Battlefront. You know, I played the original games growing up, and then these new ones came out, and I played them a lot. I would prefer a Battlefront 3 with more content. I honestly don't know much about the Cenozoic. I'm more of a Mesozoic enthusiast. That is completely fine. That is completely fine. Although we do currently live in the Cenozoic right now, so I'm sure that you know quite a bit about your day-to-day life. Technically speaking. There's a spider on my headphones. Is there really? I don't believe you. I'm not falling for it. What would happen, or what would, sorry, what would I want in the franchise more, Facilissuchus or Caprisuchus? Probably Facilissuchus, mostly because it doesn't really have any on-screen representation. Should EA make Battlefront 3? What do you think? What do I think? I think you think the EA shouldn't. I think they should. I don't know. EA doesn't have to. They don't technically own the Battlefront brand. That they don't own that IP. That's specifically owned by Lucasfilm Games. So technically, they can give it to anybody. I don't know if EA needs it per se. I don't know if they've ever earned our trust in that regard. I wish they would put some unique dinosaurs like Megaraptor or extinct crocodile relatives for the new movie. Although I find the difference between crocodilomorphs and crocodiliforms quite confusing. I do too. but I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. I certainly do agree. I agree with that. But yeah, I find that pretty confusing as well. I'm not really a crocodiliform crocodilomorph guy. I think that's more so Dinofax's forte. Thoughts on Dinochirus? Dinochirus, it is my wife's favorite dinosaur, and so by default, I love it. It's a really cool dinosaur. Uh, Thoughts on The Good Dinosaur? I quite like the movie. Certainly pretty low on the totem pole in terms of like dinosaur movies, but I don't really dislike it. Like I think it's a lot of fun, especially when I was watching it with my daughter the other day. I think not the other day, but like a few months ago. I thought that it was a pretty fun movie. Who do you think will win in a battle, a Torvosaurus or a Suchomimus? Who's heavier? I feel like Suchomimus might be heavier. I think it has more. Certainly, I think it has more height on it. They usually say whoever's heavier, I'll give them the victory. Doesn't the D-Rex look like the Rancor from Star Wars? Might be the only one. Nah, it definitely does. Especially with all of this merchandise that's been coming out that's making it more tan in coloration. It's like the similarities between it and the Rancor are just uncanny. Styracosaurus is your favorite ceratopsian? Sweet. That is a fantastic one right there. What's your thoughts on the T-Rex losing every important fight? I think that it goes to show that the T-Rex is not as strong as other people think it is. But that's just me. Thoughts on the upcoming series Surviving Earth? I'm pretty excited for that. We don't have enough details on it. Supposedly Spinosaurus is supposed to be in it, which if that does end up coming out this fall like they plan on it, then that adds to the year of the Spinosaurus. Did I watch Walking with Dinosaurs? I've watched a little bit of Walking with Dinosaurs. I have not completed it yet. And I can't really talk about it until June. But I've mostly seen clips anyway. A quick question. What do you think of Prior Extinction's new Tyrannosaurus? I like it. I think it's really good. I think Prior Extinction always knocks it out of the park with their models. What dinosaur do you think would make the best for a horror movie? My money is on Mipe. I think I agree with you, especially if it sounds like the one in Path of Titans. Yeah, if they give it like elk noises, like an elk bugle and hyena giggles, hyena laughs, I think that'd be pretty funny. Or not funny, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Hello, Dino Dude. Is it bad for me to do many interpretations on my channel? Nah. I don't own things. I just do things. Do I think that the new T-Rex will fight the D-Rex? Probably. Probably. Diabloceratops would be a great horror dino. Kind of would, wouldn't it? It's got that very interesting headgear. Make for a really cool silhouette anyway. I think the Dilophosaurus would make for a great horror movie villain. I agree with that. Especially, more accurate sized Dilophosaurus with the slender build and the the tall stature. I think that'd be pretty cool. Ooh, 100% adolescent Rex would be generally scary. I absolutely agree with that. I would love to see a movie or something that has like an adolescent T-Rex just chasing people down because they were more so designed for speed. They had the adaptations for a speedier lifestyle. They were a lot more slim compared to their adult counterparts. They'd be perfect for that. Have I thought of making a video about the Isle, mostly about its hypodinos? I probably could. I'll have to add that to the list, but I'm sure I could. Inostransavia as a horror creature. That's another good one too. They kind of did it in. I always get the name mixed up with other ones. They kind of did it in Primeval. I think it's called. Yeah, it's not Primal. They already did it in Primeval. They made it oversized, and the skin was of course off, but it was pretty good. My favorite video from you so far is the Path of Titans Backrooms video from a month ago. That was fun. We were actually going on to record a Raptor video, but Lakota ended up finding, like, he's been on it before, but he ended up finding it again, the, server that had the back rooms, and he was like, "Hey, let's do this," and we did, and it was hilarious, and we loved it. Excuse me. What are your thoughts on the mutants in Jurassic World Rebirth? Do you like the idea, or would you rather just stick with the dinosaurs? Personally, if I had my way, I would just stick with the dinosaurs. I'm not going to have a full on opinion. Like, I'm not going to tear them down or anything like that until I actually see the movie. So, in order to get my full opinion, we're going to have to wait until after June 2nd, which is when I'll be seeing the movie. But right now, I'm just indifferent to them. Not a big fan of that idea. I don't think we really need to do that with this. And despite what a lot of people say, I don't think that really fits the franchise. No, the books didn't have mutants, but uh, yeah, no, we'll just have to wait and see before I have a full opinion on it. Why can't dinosaurs turn their hands? They just lack a lot of the same flexibility that, say, humans have. Because with humans, our ulna and radius is actually able to spin over. It's like able to rotate on our elbow. That's something that dinosaurs simply can't do. It's just a lot of, a lot of dinos or a lot of animals are just differently set up from each other, so they can do some things that while others can't. Dinosaurs and reptiles in general typically lack the same type of flexibility that mammals have. In the same way that dinosaurs wouldn't really be able to, how elephants lie down? They like put both of their legs on a single side because they're able to twist their lower back. That's something that we humans can do. We can twist our lower back. Reptiles can't do that. Dinosaurs couldn't do that. So, saying like Jurassic World Evolution, when you see a sauropod like put both of its hind limbs on one side like an elephant, that's not accurate. They could only like lie like these two limbs going forward and then the other two limbs just going straight backwards. You cannot tell me the Dominion was wasted potential when the Indoraptor exists. Indoraptor was surprisingly underutilized. I often forget how little it's in that movie until I watch it and it's like, "Oh shoot, it's only in this for like it's just such a small fraction of time." It's crazy. Especially compared to the Indominus. When the Indominus was there, it was like a presence for basically the whole movie. Am I growing my hair out? I am. I am. I'm probably going to cut it though cuz it's kind of making me angry. Um the Thylacoleo being the main threat for a Cenozoic horror movie would be cool. Yeah, it'd be kind of like a drop bear. At least depending on how Thylacoleos would hunt their prey, which right now the idea is that they would climb into trees and drop down. And they lived in Australia, so it works out. What's my favorite dinosaur from the aisle and favorite hypo? I always like the hypo Spino, and that's because I'm biased. I also really like the hypo or the regular Spinosaurus too, but the Triceratops looks gorgeous. So I'll just say the Triceratops. Would I want to become a paleontologist? That is ultimately the plan. That is the goal. Um, I was going to school for it. I was going for geology, though I think next, like when I go back to school, I'm going to switch to biology because I think biology is a lot more fascinating than geology. Please don't spam, by the way, I see that. But I think that, once I eventually get the chance to do that, then I'll, of course, go back to school and focus on that. I just realized there's a Google Easter egg for drop bear. Is there really? That's interesting. I would be at school right now, but I have oh, that's no fun. Let me catch up a little bit. Are you excited for Forgotten Bloodlines Agate? Oh, I am so excited for that. I am very excited for that. We don't have a lot of Cenozoic media in general, especially for the past. Um, especially since it's focusing on Daedon and some Calicatheres and things like that. I'm very excited for it. I expected the mammoth to be in Jurassic World Rebirth. That'd be weird. That'd be really weird and interesting. I kind of would like to see that. It certainly wouldn't make sense for the environment, but hey, that'd be really cool. You like my 8 crazy nights video on Spinosaurus? Thank you. Thank you. That was fun to make. Why am I frozen? Why am I frozen? There we go. Okay. Fun fact: the isle has multiple different types of dinosaurs, not the type H. Not only type H, hypo. There's also a Magna Rex and a necrotic Spino. I think you'd like the necrotic Spino. Have you seen its design? I have seen its design. I remember seeing that back when we were just stuck with the Isle Legacy, and I always thought it was pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing more of it though. Calicothera is one of my favorite Cenozoic animals, as it should be. Have you seen that? It's like a gorilla mixed with a horse. It's awesome. And an anteater, just to be sure. Why am I frozen again? There we go. I don't know why that keeps happening. I think that's probably my connection. Let me hold on. I gotta try something real quick. There we go. If you could study any dinosaur and add research to it, what would it be? Oh, Spinosaurus. If I had like the chance to go to the like to the chem beds and actually contribute to the science of understanding Spinosaurus, I would be so flippin' happy. Did I like the Titanosaurus from Rebirth? From Rebirth, I think I like its design. I'm just not crazy about the fins. That's like the only thing I don't like. But even at that, it seems like their fins can fold down. So I think the Titanosaur design is pretty cool. Can you play the lizard dot jar mod in Minecraft, please? It is a reptile that chases you. I actually did play it. I played it yesterday because I saw your very comment. Thank you for the recommendation. I will be uploading that video on Dino Guy Gaming eventually. By the way, this is going to be a little bit of a promotion, people. If you guys want to see some non-dinosaur related content, non-dinosaur related games, go to Dino Guy Gaming, where I'll be playing whatever it is I'm playing at the time. There's no rhyme or reason to it. All right, promotion's over. If you could travel to Isla Sorna to study the animals, would you? Yes. Well, yes, probably. Dinosaur King content, please. I could probably do some more Dinosaur King content. I think I saw another Dinosaur King mod on Nexus Mods for Jurassic World Evolution 2. Maybe I can do that again. Because I know that there's this huge hype building with Dinosaur King, which I'm all here for it. You know, Dinosaur King was awesome. Huge part of my childhood right there. I've made it like another TikTok talking about it too, and that'll probably be uh uploaded on YouTube Shorts. I can't like drawing a blank. Gaming is as good as your main channel. Repo is the best. Repo is the best, man. Repo was so much fun. I've never had so much fun playing a game before until I played Repo. Repo was so fun. And I'm frozen again. Why is it? Okay, no, it's not frozen. Why does it do it? That's weird. Okay. Another fun fact, in the old Isle Legacy files, there was an anaconda model. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it be an AI or a playable creature? I'd assume it'd be an AI. Although they were talking about Titanoboa for like briefly, like very, very briefly, but I don't think it went anywhere. So as of right now, it's no Titanoboa as a playable creature. Have I seen this random movie called Dinosaur Island, where the T Rex has red and blue feathers? I watched it as a little kid, and now I think it's goofy. I did watch it. I watched it a few years ago with my wife, and I was like, I don't know. It was hard to get into. It was a low budget movie, and it was pretty goofy. Like that's an astute compare or astute description. Best repo moment every time. Biology getting Lakota killed, dude. I Biology's hilarious. It is hilarious to play with him in the game because he always does these things that just gets himself killed, and it's just so freaking funny. Like we revived him 3 times in one match, and he always ended up dying like right away. What dinosaur would be a good enemy in Repo? I think that, as we were talking about earlier, I think Maip would be a perfect dinosaur as a villain in Repo. It's it might be a little bit too big, so you'd have to scale it down a little bit. Maybe you can get a smaller Megaraptor, but it just has the perfect creep factor. If you give it creepy noises, I think it would work out quite well. What's my opinion on the plot of Jurassic World Rebirth? I think the scenes and animals will be cool, though I do not like the plot at all. I think it ruins the Jurassic World movies set up. Dinosaurs in our world. I definitely agree with that last part. I don't think that this plot is anything to write home about. Um, it's certain. I don't know. I'll see how it all plays out, but I don't think it's like the most mind blowing plot. It's like we're going to this island because all the dinosaurs are secluded again. They don't live in our world, as you mentioned, and I think that that's pretty frustrating in and of itself because I think that what Fallen Kingdom set up was really fascinating, and I think we could have done tons of stuff with that, but we're just back to the island formula. And then we're going there to get DNA from these animals to create cures. And who knows if that's even the truth? Like maybe this guy's a bad guy or something. I don't know. We'll see. They pull a twist villain, walking out. Not really, though. They should do a Chaos Theory live action movie or just a higher budget animated movie. They probably should. Maybe just cap it all off with a movie like the whole Chaos Theory run because Chaos Theory is doing a good job at like taking what Fallen Kingdom set up and just running with it. And they are running, they are sprinting, they're doing a lot of really cool things with it. I'm wondering how would the other theropods, including the Saga's Tyrannosaurus, react to seeing the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus Rex swim. I'd assume that all of the Rexes in the saga would be able to swim. I mean, with our real world logic, T-Rex most likely could swim. So I don't think there's really any reason to think that other, like the fictional Tyrannosaurs wouldn't be able to swim, especially since we're seeing this one do it. So I think they'd be like, yeah, that's normal. Nanotyrannus or Majungotholus. Majungotholus is kind of funny because of the whole Red Raptor rights bit, but yeah, I think Majungotholus. uh, what are my thoughts on the Isle Legacies tribal / cannibals? I find their lore interesting. It's sad they never came to be playable. I apologize if I ask many Isle questions. That's fine. That's completely fine. And I don't really know if I know much about them. I didn't dive too much into the Isles lore, unfortunately. Once they started like teasing at the idea that they wanted to include humans, I kind of stopped paying attention because I didn't really want like humans in the game, at least at the at the time. Dr. Terminator, I'm sorry, Dr. Terminator. Thank you for the $2. They really exist. Cuts to Mutadon. Mutadon. Thoughts on Goliath? It's a cool dinosaur. It's only known from, well, cool T-Rex specifically. Only known from a femur, of course. Don't know a lot about it. As far as we know, it could be the largest tyrannosaur that ever lived, placing it at like closer to around 12 tons, which is hefty. But again, it's just a femur. Take things with a pinch of salt. Who wins in a fight to the death, General Grievous or Majungotholus? Ooh, Grievous. Bias for my boy. I call it making Jurassic World dinosaurs rhymes with grug. Good. Good. If you could remove any dinosaur from the Jurassic franchise, what would it be and why? I know it has all its fans, but the Giganotosaurus. I don't really like it. I don't like it. What do you think of this new island in Rebirth? I, for one, can't help but think they could have just set it on Isla Sorna. They probably could have, but as far as I could tell, they could have, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see we'll see what happened. Majungotholus isn't real. Well, it was for a minute, but then it wasn't. It's now dubious. According to the book, in fact, Rexy could in fact swim. Yes, she could. But they are different dinosaurs. In fact, there is a river scene in the book where Grant and the kids are on a rowboat being chased. Rexy even swims under to come up and knock the boat. Yes, the book is really fantastic. Um, but of course, that she's not even called Rexy in the book. Not even really called Rexy in the movie. That was a fan thing. But she was confirmed to be called Rexy in Camp Cretaceous. Have I seen the Rebirth Funko Pops that I can't speak? I apologize. Have I seen the Rebirth Funko Pops that have been leaked? Yes, the Titanosaur looks like a baby xenomorph. It looks like a chest burster, and I can't unsee it. I want the Rebirth Spinosaurus though. Thoughts on Sigilmosaurus? I'm very confused about it, if it's still valid or not. I think it's controversial right now. It's potentially dubious. I don't think we really know. I think it's mostly known from teeth, which is always a problem. That's why I don't really speak on it too much. Do I think that we will ever get a horror-based Jurassic? I think we'll get elements of horror. I don't know if we'll ever get full-on horror, nor will we. I don't think we'll get like rated R like everybody wants. I think we'll have to rely on other independent films like Primitive War for our R-rated dinosaur fix. Do you think the Jurassic Park the game? I think that's the game. Troodons should be featured in a movie. I don't know about featured, but I think yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'd be kind of cool to see that. Is Oshalaya synonymous with Spino or not? It is not. It is currently its own thing. There's something about the layout of its teeth and the fact that it has like extra teeth that Spinosaurus doesn't have that it makes it distinct from Spinosaurus. Though it is still a very shaky taxon because all of its fossils were destroyed and we don't really know much about it. You're scared about watching Primitive War since it's R-rated. That's probably fair. The book was pretty brutal as well. What are your thoughts on the characters that survived the original Jurassic Park novel but died in the movie? I always thought that was interesting. Hammond was a completely different character in the movie than he was in the book. Spoilers for the book, but he dies at the end of the book. Compies got him. Use their venom. But I think it's interesting. I mean, that's just a prime example of why we can't really take the book and the movie like one for one. They are not, that's whenever there's like debates going on about the Jurassic franchise and their use of hybrids and things like that and use of mutants, there's always people who bring up, well, in the book, it's like you can't use the book as like an explanation for the movie because they are not one for one. There was no Hammond death scene in the movie, There's they are so different from each other that it's very, very difficult to use it as like a solid basis. Do I think that the Utah Raptor of the toy from Mattel or Purosaurus should be in Jurassic World Rebirth? I think it'd be cool if they were, but by this point, I don't think they should because then that would be too much. That would be too many creatures. Then they would have the same issue that Rebirth had. I'm fine with more creatures if they're like in the background in like a herd or something, like how they did in The Lost World. But when you're having like so many creatures where you want them to all be featured, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. What's your opinion on Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Tyrannosaurus? I quite liked it. Maybe a little bit shrink wrapped, just a tad, not much, but I think it looks good. It looks a lot like a Tyrannosaurus, that's for sure. Do I think that we'll be getting a trailer for the Jurassic Park Survival next week at Summer Games Fest? Maybe. I don't know. Are the developers for Survival at Games Fest? I know that Frontier is going to be there, so we might see something from Evolution 3. But I don't know about Survival. I hope so. I wouldn't mind seeing more about it. You think that there's something in the swamp in Rebirth? I think so too. There was some of that behind the scenes footage where Gareth Edwards is like, yeah, it'll be swimming right next to you. So there's gonna be something in there. Don't know what. Maybe it is Purosaurus. Ooh, maybe it is. I didn't think of that. That'd be cool. It'd still be too much, but it'd be cool. Favorite iguanodontid? That would be Lurtosaurus. I love those things. Let me get caught up real quick. Whoa, what's happening? Why is it frozen? No, there we go. Do I prefer King Kong 2005 or Jurassic World Rebirth? Well, I haven't seen Rebirth yet, so I can't really make that comparison. I can't choose, really. It's not a fair comparison because I haven't seen one. But I do like 2005 King Kong. I think it's a solid remake. What do I think? There are more creatures on Rebirth Island since it's a thriving ecosystem. I mean, it probably is if they manage to survive for about 17 years. I think the Purosaurus is too big for the shallow water. My guess is Titanoboa or Capro. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It depends on where exactly. Purosaurus is still low to the ground. It's not like a mutant croc. I think it could, yeah, it could still submerge itself. Um, the only reason why I say Purosaurus is because there is a Purosaurus rebirth toy. There's no Titanoboa or what else did you say? The Caprasuchus. There's no Caprasuchus toy. Do I have any real fossils or fossil replicas? I have a lot of fossil replicas and a few real fossils. Most of the time when I go fossil hunting, I don't really keep them, but there's some instances where I'm allowed to, like this ammonite. That this one's real right here. It's probably one of the most complete things that has been discovered of my thing, but not much. Here's a replica Allosaurus claw. What genre of dinosaur games do you prefer? Park sims or survivals? Ooh. I might like park simulators more, and that's mainly going off of the fact that I think Prehistoric Kingdom is my favorite dinosaur game. Really hope that Maiasaura is in Rebirth. What are your thoughts on this? I got a toy, so my hopes are up since I love Maya, or maybe I'm just delusional. I've heard that it's supposed to be in it. It's not, if anything, it might be one of those background dinosaurs that you see in a herd or something like that. But I hope it is. I do really like, I do like Maiasaura. It's probably one of my favorite hadrosaurs. The toy is really cool too. The toy looks fantastic. I have a Spinosaurus tooth, but one of the small ones. I have a small one, yes. I actually have a real one somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. But I have a replica Spinosaurus tooth, which is one of the larger ones. Uh your profile picture is a Spinosaurus wearing a cowboy hat. However, it's easier for me to personally imagine a Acrocanthosaurus wearing one. Why? Because they lived in Texas. I actually don't live in Texas, so No, it's Spinosaurus because it's my favorite dinosaur. Uh, do you think the dinos in Rebirth and Chaos Theory will be DLCs or things that will be released in Jurassic World Evolution 3? I think they'll just be in the game. I don't know, well, maybe not the Chaos Theory ones. I think that the Rebirth ones are going to just be in the game, similar to how Dominion. No, wait, no, those were DLC. It depends on when we get the game. If the game comes out after Rebirth releases, which it's looking like it's going to. In fact, most likely it's going to because we still don't even have a trailer. Um, they might give us all of it. I'm not too sure. I'm very cautious to watch Walking with Dinosaurs 2 in 2 days because I saw a couple creators make spoiler-free reviews and they were a little disappointed. I've seen a bit. I have seen a bit. I have had the opportunity to see a little bit, and I certainly do have a lot of things to say in my review, but I'm not really gonna say too much. What Jurassic movie do I think has the best dinosaur designs? I think that the first Jurassic Park is certainly a huge contender. A lot of those were pretty accurate for the time and are still very accurate. Um, but Dominion has some great ones. Like I like a lot of the designs there. I feel like there isn't enough evidence to finalize birds, including all maniraptorans evolving from dinosaurs. Okay. I mean, I disagree heavily. There's a ton of evidence for it. Um, there's a lot of evidence for it. One of the biggest pieces that you could probably tell all your friends is that birds were always thought to only uniquely have a wishbone. We always thought that birds only had a wishbone. That was thought to be like a unique trait for them. Then it was found out that Velociraptor and Tyrannosaurus and other such theropods had a wishbone. That is a huge connection. All you have to do is look at a theropod dinosaur foot, and then you'll be able to see the resemblance. How do you think the D-Rex will die in the new Jurassic World Rebirth? And if you think it will die for who? I don't know. It probably will die to a T-Rex or Spinosaurus, but it'd be kind of cool if it didn't die. Certainly hard to say, though. Do I support Spinosaurus having feathers? I don't know if I'd support it per se. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I wouldn't be surprised if most, if not all, dinosaurs had feathers in some way, shape, or form. Like even just sparse hair-like feathers. So Spinosaurus having them, it wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not gonna go out and make videos saying that Spinosaurus definitely did have feathers. You know, I'm just like if I see portrayals that have feathers, I'll be like, yeah, that doesn't really, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. But I'm not gonna make whole videos explaining why they did because we don't really have any evidence for it. What about the amount of tail vertebrae and the swivel wrists? Those are different adaptations for different animals. I mean, w okay, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't get into debates like that, but those are just different yeah, cute cat, thank you. Yeah, no, those are just different adaptations for different animals. Evolution does work in many, many different ways. A lot of earlier birds did have a lot of the same adaptations that you would probably consider to be dinosaurian, such as teeth and just very differently shaped forelimbs. A great example would have to be Archaeopteryx, that perfectly looks a lot like a mixture of a non-avian dinosaur and an avian dinosaur. There's a lot of transitional things that happen with that, and of course, it doesn't happen overnight. It wasn't just like, one day in the late Jurassic period, a dinosaur went to sleep, and then the next day, boom, bird. No, that's not how it happened. It's small changes over a perceived amount of time, thousands of years. Uh, are there any four-legged dinosaurs that ate meat? Unless I'm forgetting anything, no. I think that pretty much all primarily carnivorous dinosaurs were bipedal, per my memory. I could be forgetting something, but I don't think there was any completely quadrupedal uh, carnivorous dinosaur. Now, of course, nowadays we know that all all herbivores will sometimes partake in eating meat every once in a while. That's just something that happens in nature. So could an Edmontosaurus come across? I mean, we actually have hadrosaurs, like evidence of them eating crabs. So there's that too. I'm super jazzed because I'm currently 3D printing the Arctic figures Megaraptor figure, but I messed the sizing up, so it's going to be the size of a real life Velociraptor at least. Wow, 4.5 feet long. I don't know if that's a mess up. That sounds awesome. Opinions on the Troodon paper. Very cool. I don't have anything against it, of course. As far as I can tell, yeah, it seems like they identified a neotype for Troodon. So as far as I'm concerned, then yeah, it seems like as of right now, Troodon is back. But I know that there's going to be some scientists and other people who are way smarter than me and way more way more qualified than me to probably talk on it. And we're frozen. Why are we frozen? Why are we frozen? Oh, there we go. What do I think the D-Rex got its long arms from? I don't know. If it's a mutant, then it's just a failed genetic trait. If it got it from something else, then we'd have to call it a hybrid, which these things are already looking like hybrids, but whatever. Are we frozen again? Okay, there we go. In 2 days, it's my birthday. Happy early birthday. That's awesome. I've heard a lot of debates, so I want your answer. Do you personally think Therizinosaurus could use their claws as weapons? So there was a paper that was released a few years ago that analyzed the Therizinosaurus claws and looked at the stress points, and it seemed like they had relatively weak claws. So if anything, it seems like at the very least they didn't prioritize using them as weapons. They were most likely used mostly for pulling down branches to help them eat, which that was already the suspicion. I don't there, of course, needs to be some more papers looking at that because so far we only have one paper. Uh, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would still be able to use them as weapons if the time was needed. But it does seem like their claws were relatively weak. Am I getting a lot of lame comments? Oh, okay. What about Nothronychus? I think that, well, I don't know if this applies to other Therizinosaurids. Nothronychus does have smaller claws, so they probably wouldn't be as delicate. It's difficult to say. What's your favorite beast of the Mesozoic figure on my shelf? Probably my Pachyrhinosaurus. I quite like that one. Am I ever going to review The Good Dinosaur? It's underrated Pixar movie. Yeah, I probably will. In fact, I might do that soon because I kind of forgot that I wanted to talk about that at some point. You didn't notice me, that's why? Oh, well, yeah, I'm not going to notice everybody. I apologize. I'm thinking the D-Rex and Megalodons are hybrid, but I wonder if both will share a scene. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. What's my favorite sauropod? One of my favorites has to be Alamosaurus. Well, you just named my favorite. Alamosaurus is probably my favorite, if not Argentinosaurus. Have I seen Goji Center's Sue versus T-Rex or Rexy? I have not. I kind of wanted to back away from all that because everybody was being mean to me. Now with that, doesn't that mean that Latin will be invalid if Troodon is back? I talked about this with Lakota in biology. They didn't even mention Latin Navenatrix in the paper. They only mentioned Stenonychosaurus. So as far as I could tell, Latin Navenatrix is its own thing still. What are your opinions on the colossal direwolf situation? I ranted about this on the Paleopod, which is our little podcast. Um, I'm not a fan of the way that they approached it. Of course, they're not actual dire wolves. They have even admitted that right now. For everybody who argued with me, they even admitted recently that they are not real dire wolves. They have recently admitted that, and they are not real dire wolves. And I just don't like the way that they just came out saying, "Hey, dire wolves are back," and just it made me upset. Nothing was peer reviewed or anything. I didn't like it. Stenonychosaurus will be invalid, right? I don't know if it'd be invalid per se. I think it's a junior synonym. It's just synonymized with Troodon. So I guess you could consider that invalid, but I guess the name could still work just as a junior synonym. Are we frozen again? I despise Colossal. I don't really despise them. I just don't like the way that they handle things. They just say things. They just publish things without having anything peer reviewed first. They're like, yeah, let's just say that we have dire wolves. It was all a publicity stunt. It's all because they wanted to get people to, get talking about their thing, which, yeah, it worked. Everybody was talking about it. But then you just have a lot of problems with it. Now people actually think that these are real dire wolves, and they're not. They're just gray wolves that have some of the dire wolf traits. It was so frustrating. It made me so upset. It made me so unreasonably angry, almost as angry as the whole gorilla versus human thing. Gave me hope that we will get the mammoth soon, but now I don't think we will. We will. We'll just get an Asian elephant that looks like a mammoth. That's because that's what they're planning on doing. This was kind of like a little thing. They have stated before that what they're going to be doing is modifying the traits of an Asian elephant because Asian elephants are today's closest relatives to mammoths. So that's what they're going to be doing. It's just going to be an Asian elephant that looks like a mammoth, and they're going to release it, and they're going to be like, "Whoa, mammoths are back!" And it's like, no, it's going to be an elephant which mammoths are elephants, so at least there's that. At least they have that because dire wolves are not actually wolves. That was a big problem right there. But at least eight like mammoths are actually elephants. So I guess this will be better. But I'm getting sidetracked. Should- we should get focusing on things. We should give focusing on things. Do I have a favorite paleontologist and why? I won't tell you a favorite paleontologist because I'm friends with a lot of paleontologists and I don't want any of them to get I don't want to show that I have any favoritism towards them. So I'm not going to answer. Did that paper Colossal published about grave wolves being more related to dire wolves than before we get peer reviewed? I think it was peer reviewed. I haven't had the chance to completely read it, but I think that it was peer reviewed. At least I hope it was. I don't know. If it wasn't, that'll just be another thing. What's your opinion on the 100 Ben versus one gorilla? Oh, dude, that, that. Don't even get me started on that. A gorilla's not going to win. That's it. There's a lot of things I could say, but that's it. A gorilla's not going to win. That was really frustrating. A really frustrating point in time because that is a point in time when I realized that people don't see animals as animals. There's this huge like dramatization and overhyping of animals, you know. Gorillas, they're very peaceful animals. They're like I'm currently reading Gorillas of the Mist, and like gorillas are really, really fascinating and peaceful, well, okay, relatively peaceful animals. They're still dangerous. They're still dangerous. They are still wild animals. But there's these relatively peaceful animals that actively avoid confrontation. Um, so if like okay, here's like the most frustrating part about that whole gorilla versus human debate is whenever I would talk about the like that, like saying that there's no way a gorilla could win against 100 people because gorillas don't have the proper stamina. Well, then people would start going to me saying, "Well, I don't think you're taking into account the psychological effect that people would have after seeing their buddies getting hit by a gorilla." And I'm like, "Okay, if we're applying the psychological effect to the humans, why don't we apply it to the gorilla? Because we have to play this fair. If a gorilla sees 100 people charging it, it's running. A gorilla runs if a freaking goose is chasing it. So if that's what we're doing, if we're going to apply, if we're going to try to nerf humans, you got to apply the same thing to the human or to the gorilla. That was one of the most frustrating things about that debate is that everybody just wanted to nerf the humans because they desperately wanted the gorilla to win because they wanted the gorilla to be Omni-Man, I guess. It was so incredibly frustrating. It was so frustrating. But gorillas, they're relatively peaceful animals. You know, they don't even want to fight in the first place. There's a reason why there's so many videos of them running away from geese and things like that. When they fight each other, that fight only lasts like 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes because gorillas just what they do is they just go full energy all out and then they get tired, you know. There's no way it can last for 100 humans. No way. Anyway, I'm done. I think the debate was for fun too, but of course there was a lot of folks on the gorilla side that were genuinely like trying. I had a few threats to me. Well, one person threatened me, saying that they were going to find me. They were like, "What city do you live in?" I blocked him, but there were some people who absolutely could not debate, and they were just like taking things a little bit too far because they believed that the gorilla would win, you know? And so that was as far as I know, there was one person who threatened me, and of course I blocked him, but yeah, that was that was something. That was certainly something. I turned you into a hypospino like fan art. I hope you've seen it. Do you request any spinal from media I could turn you into? I don't know if I have seen. I might have actually. I might have. I've seen a decent amount of the fan art that was done for me, which is always really awesome. Probably a kid. It probably was a kid, honestly. It was just interesting. I was having what I thought was a regular debate, and then they just like started to turn on the threatening stuff. I think because I don't know, there's some people who just can't debate. I don't like debating anyway because there's really nothing that gets accomplished from that. But you can't really have like any type of conversation with some people without them getting angry and then they want to start threatening. Personally, I believe 100 men could beat a gorilla. I'm gonna find you. It's like I took that personally. uh Now I want to make a 3D model of Dino Guy's profile picture. Absolutely. If you do, definitely tag me on something, Instagram or something. I'll definitely see it. Is there a place we can post fan art if we don't use Discord? I like to draw paleo art, and you're my favorite YouTuber, so I think that would be fun. Ah, shoot, I don't think I have anything, unfortunately. I'll have to think about doing that because that is a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing that. 100 gorillas versus Grug would be a lot better. Absolutely, that's a better question. uh, what about 100 men versus one Gigantopithecus? I think a lot of the same problems apply to even something like that. Well, because like while Gigantopithecus is huge, the bigger they get, the more difficult it gets for them to retain energy. And so because gorillas already have issues with energy today, I guarantee a Gigantopithecus would have the same problems. It's confirmed that the new Tyrannosaurus in Rebirth is a different breed. Is it really? T. macraensis? I don't know. 100 men versus 100 geese is way better. There we go. That's a good one. 100 men versus 2005 King Kong. There you go. That's one that the men are probably not going to win. I mean, 2005 King Kong took on 3 highly evolved tyrannosaurs. What about 100 men versus a Paleoloxodon? That's a little bit trickier as well. Can you explain what kind of pterosaur is rodent from Godzilla? So I'm pretty sure I put him in the many interpretations of Pteranodon videos. So I'm pretty sure these mostly just inspired from the most classic pterosaur, that being Pteranodon. I was debating someone the other day about how 100 or 1,000 men could probably take down a Tyrannosaurus. 1,000, probably. Probably. Again, stamina is an issue for anything. It's only one Rex, too. So I got, yeah, yeah. Ooh, do you think that the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus could survive on the 2005 King Kong Island? Maybe, given what we've seen. Although, I don't know, maybe not. That is a vicious island, Skull Island, you know? So maybe not. Are we frozen? Why is it why is this why? It won't let me scroll. There we go. I don't know why it does that. Would you have preferred to see the classic Jurassic World website design rather than the official ones? The classic? Do you mean like the one that was promoting the first Jurassic World? Because if so, I love that one. That one was really good. I'm not going to talk much about it too long. I feel like the two most likely ways are Maniraptors came from Coelurosaurs, or that them and dinosaurs share a close common ancestor. Anything to say about it? Coelurosaurus. I mean, wait, what? Hold on. Let me read that again. I feel like the two most likely ways are Maniraptors came from Coelurosaurus, or that them and dinosaurs share a close common ancestor. I mean, Maniraptors are Coelurosaurs, are they not? I'm pretty sure that's correct. So, and, if they came from Coelurosaurs, that means they would be Coelurosaurs. Do you think the JP3 Spinosaurus could snap the neck of a Dominion Giga? It had a more armored neck, so I heavily doubt it. Probably not. It's kind of unlikely to be able to do that to a Rex, but you know, it's the movies, so for sake of the movie, sure. 100 men versus General Grievous. The men don't have a chance with that one. I noticed that the Indominus Rex reminds me a lot of the Vistatosaurus Rex from King Kong. It kind of does. It's got the osteoderms, the more pale coloration. Pretty good comparison to make. What speculative evolutions do you think the dinosaurs would have undergone if the mass extinction never occurred? I have no idea. I'm terrible at spec evo. I can tell you one thing: they wouldn't have looked like humans, like the dinosauroid, but um, they would look different. I can tell you that much. 8 billion men versus Godzilla. Holy moly! I can't even fathom 8 billion, but probably Godzilla. I'm having issues visualizing what 8 billion would look like on the ground, you know, at Godzilla's feet. What's my favorite playable dinosaur in the Isle, Legacy and Evrima? I haven't played too much of Evrima. Legacy, I always liked playing as the Allosaurus. There was something that was really satisfying about it. Evrima, so far, I've had a lot of fun playing as the Maiasaura. Crazy, but yeah, it's a cool one. What's my favorite flightless avian dinosaur? Good question. I like emus a lot. I think emus are really cool, and I also really like cassowaries. But what would I consider my favorite? Yeah, we'll probably just say cassowary. I don't know. I like crests. I'm a huge sucker for crests, and I think that the cassowary's crest is really interesting. Fun fact: did you know that female cassowaries actually have larger crests than males? Little fun fact. Thoughts on Primitive War? Very excited for it. I've been talking with the author of the novel recently. Really nice guy. He's a really awesome and nice guy. I got some cool things coming up in terms of Primitive War. Do I like Anomalocaris? Considering the fact that it does its best, yes. I do like Anomalocaris, though. It's a very cool animal. Is the Gorgosaurus from Walking with Dinosaurs a valid species? Since a few people are saying that it's actually Nanoxaurus or another species, and I'm just super curious. It is actually Nanoxaurus. That is an interesting point in history. When they first found the fossils in that area, in that formation, it was thought that they were another species of Gorgosaurus, and that's what was represented in the movie. Um, it wasn't until later analysis that they found out that these are too distinct to be considered Gorgosaurus, and they were renamed as Nanoxaurus. So technically, in the 2013 movie Walking with Dinosaurs, those are technically Nanoxaurus. They just look like Gorgosaurus, but yeah, that's technically what they are. Emus and cassowaries, nice. They're both here in Australia. Heck yeah, they're awesome dinosaurs. What's my favorite animal from the Jurassic World Evolution 2 roster? I like a lot of them, but I don't know what my absolute favorite would be. I really like the Nano Tyran or sorry, jeez, the Tyrannus. Oh man. I really like the Tyrannus. I also really like the Dinochirus. I think that it looks so cool. Um, what else do I like? Yeah, I'll just say those two. I also like the Jacopil. Nano Tyrannus. I know. I slipped. I slipped. Don't kill me. Aren't Goro and Nanook basically the same, or am I thinking of some other Tyrannosaur? In the 2013 Walking with Dinosaurs, well, okay, Nanoxaurus is distinct from I'm forgetting words. Why am I forgetting words? Nanoxaurus is distinct from Gorgosaurus. It's just they thought that Gorgosaurus was its own species, or there was another species of Gorgosaurus in I think the Prince Creek Formation, if I'm not mistaken, but it was actually Nanoxaurus. Do I think that Jurassic World Rebirth will be the best amongst the Jurassic World movies? I hope so. I hope so. Aren't those guys into the prehistoric planet? Nanosaurus was in prehistoric planet, yes. They were undersized, too thin, but they are in prehistoric planet. What's my favorite book in my collection? Recently, I've been really liking King Tyrant, but I also really like Uncovering Dinosaur Behaviors, What They Did and How We Know. Really good book. But I like quite a few of my books. They always help out. Is Miragaya synonymous with Decentruris? Uh, Possibly. It's a possibly dubious genus right now. We just don't know yet. If it is, then Decentruris would become my favorite stegosaur. Did Oviraptor really steal eggs? It wasn't a common occurrence, but I'm sure from time to time it could. Could I realist? They were still the size of a turkey, and even smaller birds today can mess people up, but probably. I'm so hyped about the new Rex design. Why does Lakota hate Nanotyrannus? Hey, I don't like Nanotyrannus either. I completely agree with Lakota, and actually most paleontologists agree with the sentiment that Nanotyrannus just simply doesn't exist. And it's simply just a an adolescent Tyrannosaurus. Is the Minecraft dinosaur series coming back? I hope so. Yes, that's my plan is to bring it back. I do have a lot more time now, so hopefully, hopefully it could come back. I think I froze there for a minute, but so I am lagging for everybody. You need a new camera? No, I don't. This is a brand new camera. It's an issue with the YouTube studio. For some reason, it doesn't do a very good job at live streaming, which is really fun. So I think I'm back, hopefully. But yeah, no, it's definitely not an issue with the camera. I saw someone saying that. It's an issue with the YouTube studio, honestly. I'm probably going to try to make a transition over to Twitch one of these days because I just have so many issues with YouTube studio. But we'll see. I hope to stream a little bit more, so we might want to do that. What dinosaur would taste the nicest on a barbecue? Probably the most like bird-like dinosaurs. All the dinosaurs that are birds, of course. There we go. Stego would be tasty. That'd be sad. That's my state dinosaur. Is the Minecraft dinosaur series coming back? I hope so. I do have more time to work on it now, so I'm hoping that I can actually start working on it again because I do very much miss doing that series. Sauropod neck and tail meat would be tasty, I think. Imagine how many people a sauropod would be able to feed. So sad. Scythe. So this is weird to say, but thank you for liking my fan art. I'm the guy who made you fan art when TikTok was about to get okay, I did see yours then. Deleted. Thank you all for the support on the video. Stay positive. You did awesome stuff. I really do appreciate your work. Like that was really awesome for you to do. Do I think that Toro is the strongest medium-sized dinosaur in the Jurassic franchise? Could be. We've seen him do a lot, and he survived a lot of things that realistically he probably shouldn't have survived. So I'm gonna say maybe. Power scaling is stupid. It gets annoying. It very much gets annoying. There's an articulated Guanchi figure? No way. I need this. I'm gonna look for this. You brought it to my attention. Therefore, I'm gonna look for it. An articulated Guanchi figure. I'd love to have that. I quite like the Valley of Guanji. It's probably one of my favorites. Uh, I can't find it. Oh no. It's probably one of my favorite older dinosaur movies. I can't find it, unfortunately. I have to look for it later. It's by Rick Sand Custom Toys. Okay, I'm gonna write down that name and I'm gonna look for it. I don't think I have the budget for it right now, but I'm gonna remember that. Okay, I'll remember that. Please wish me luck on my exams. I wish you luck on your exams. Doesn't sound like fun. You think it's $85? Yeah, that's not outside of my that's outside of my budget, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Uh-oh. Is the audio cutting in and out for anyone else? I hope not. I hope everybody's doing all right. The Collect A Meropis toy is so good. I don't know if I've seen the Collect A Meropis. I'm gonna check that out real quick. Is it Collect A or is it Collecta? I always assumed it was Collect A. Ooh. Yeah, it looks very nice. Of course, if you don't know, Meropis is a calicatheer. The audio was cutting in and out earlier. I hope it's doing good. I don't know. I've been having a lot of. I might have to end the stream here because it looks like I'm having some issues with the YouTube studio. So yeah, we'll go ahead and end it here. Rather not keep having issues with the stream and make a bad experience for everybody here. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I think I need to end anyway, but thank you everybody for watching, and yeah, we'll see you all later.